The phone rang at 2:17 a.m., slicing through the dark like a knife. Tanner bolted upright in bed, heart hammering against his ribs. No one called at that hour unless someone was dead. He fumbled for the glowing screen on his nightstand, the name flashing there freezing him mid-reach. Marcus. His older brother. The brother who hadn't spoken to him in nearly 4 years. He answered before the second ring. Marcus? What the hell? Static crackled. Then a voice that sounded like it had been dragged through gravel. Tanner, I'm sorry. I didn't know who else to call. Tanner swung his legs over the edge of the bed, bare feet hitting the cool hardwood of his Chicago loft. The city lights twinkled beyond the tall windows, indifferent to whatever storm was breaking on the other end of the line. Are you hurt? In jail? Talk to me. A long pause. Tanner could hear traffic in the background, distant sirens. Marcus was somewhere on the road, probably. It's not me. It's the kid. My son. He's only 6 months old. Tan. His mom, she's gone. OD'd 2 nights ago. I can't do this alone. I'm not cut out to be a father. Not like this. The words landed like punches. Tanner stared at the floor, mind reeling. A nephew. A baby. Marcus had never mentioned a girlfriend, let alone a child. Their last conversation had ended in shouts. Marcus accusing Tanner of abandoning the family when he moved to Chicago and started living that lifestyle. The silence since then had felt permanent. Where are you? Tanner asked, voice steadier than he felt. Outside Indianapolis. I can be in Chicago by morning. Please, man. Just meet me. I need help. Real help. Tanner closed his eyes. He thought of his neat, ordered life. The architecture firm where he was up for partner, the quiet evenings sketching designs, the careful distance he kept from anything that reminded him of small-town Indiana and the father who still wouldn't look him in the eye. He had built walls for a reason. But blood was blood. Okay, he said. Text me when you're close. I'll be there. The call ended. Tanner didn't sleep again that night. By 7 a.m., he was pacing the arrivals area of a truck stop-adjacent parking lot off I-90, coffee gone cold in his hand. Marcus's battered blue pickup finally pulled in, dustier than Tanner remembered. His brother climbed out looking 10 years older. Gaunt cheeks, beard streaked with premature gray, eyes hollow. In the passenger seat, a car seat held a tiny bundle wrapped in a faded blue blanket. Tanner approached slowly. Marcus met him halfway, and for a moment they just stood there. 2 men who shared a childhood of backyard baseball and Sunday church but had become strangers. I named him Elijah, Marcus said, voice rough. After Grandpa. He's quiet. Good baby, mostly. But I got a job offer in Alaska. Pipeline work. Pays enough to get straight, maybe send money back. But I can't take him. Not the way I am right now. I'm a mess, Tan. Drinking again. Nightmares. I'd ruin him. Tanner's throat tightened. You're asking me to take him, raise him. You've got the stable life, the apartment, the job. I know it's a lot, but you're his uncle. Family. Marcus's eyes flicked away, ashamed. And I know about you. The gay thing. Dad told me. I was an ass about it back then. I'm sorry. I need to know he'll be safe. Loved. Even if it's by 2 dads someday. Whatever. The word gay hung between them like smoke. Tanner had come out to his parents at 22 during a brutal Thanksgiving dinner. His father had walked out. His mother had cried. Marcus had sent one text, disappointed, then nothing. Now here was his brother, handing over a baby and an apology in the same breath. Tanner looked at the car seat. Elijah stirred, tiny fist waving. Dark curls, Marcus's nose, but something softer in the mouth. Innocent. Unmarked by any of their family's fractures. I don't know the first thing about babies, Tanner whispered. Neither do I, Marcus admitted. But you're better than me. Always were. They transferred the diaper bag, the meager supplies, the legal papers Marcus had hastily scribbled at a truck stop notary. Temporary guardianship. Tanner signed without reading every line. What else could he do? Marcus hugged him once. Brief, awkward, smelling of stale coffee and regret, then climbed back into the truck. I'll call. When I'm settled. Tell him his dad loved him enough to let him go. The pickup disappeared into morning traffic. Tanner stood alone with a 6-month-old who now depended on him for everything. Back at the loft, reality crashed in. Elijah cried for hours. Tanner changed diapers with trembling hands, warmed formula from instructions printed off his phone, rocked the baby until his arms ached. The sleek modern apartment, once a sanctuary of clean lines and silence, filled with the chaos of bottles, wipes, and tiny socks. By evening, exhaustion blurred everything. Tanner collapsed onto the couch, Elijah finally asleep against his chest. His phone buzzed. A text from an old college friend, Isaiah. Isaiah had been Marcus's best friend growing up, the one constant in their chaotic Indiana years. Tall, athletic, quick with a laugh and quicker with loyalty. Black, confident, out since high school in a town that didn't make it easy. He and Tanner had shared a few charged glances over the years, but nothing more. Isaiah had moved to Chicago 2 years ago for a social work job. They grabbed coffee occasionally, polite, careful, never crossing the invisible line. The text read, "Heard from Marcus. He told me everything. You okay? Need help with the little guy? I'm off tomorrow." Tanner stared at the screen. Help sounded impossible to refuse. But Isaiah meant complication. Attraction Tanner had buried for years. A reminder of everything he had run from. He typed back, "Yeah. Come by if you can. I'm drowning." Isaiah arrived the next morning with groceries, a portable crib, and the calm competence of someone who actually knew what he was doing. He took one look at the dark circles under Tanner's eyes and the fussy baby and stepped inside like he belonged there. "First rule," Isaiah said, voice warm and steady. "Sleep when he sleeps. Second rule, don't try to be perfect. Babies don't need perfect. They need present." They spent the day tag teaming. Isaiah showed Tanner how to burp properly, how to read hunger cues, how to swaddle without making Elijah look like a frustrated burrito. Laughter broke through the tension more than once. Isaiah's deep, easy chuckle when formula sprayed everywhere. Tanner's reluctant grin despite the mess. As evening fell, they sat on the floor surrounded by baby gear. Elijah dozed in the new crib. Isaiah leaned back against the couch, long legs stretched out. "Your brother called me too. Said he was running. Didn't give details. But he begged me to check on you." Tanner nodded, staring at his hands. "I never thought I'd be a dad. Not like this. Not ever, really. I always figured relationships were risky enough without bringing a kid into it. People still look at us sideways. 2 men raising a child? In this country, it's better than when we were kids. But it's not easy." Isaiah's gaze was steady. "Yeah, I've seen it in my work. Foster kids, adoptive families. The system's tough. But love isn't about easy. It's about showing up when it's hard. You're already doing that." Their eyes met. Something unspoken passed between them, the old tension, the what-if that had hovered since college. Tanner looked away first. "I'm scared I'll screw him up," he admitted quietly. "Like our dad screwed us up. Like Marcus is running from." "You won't," Isaiah said. "Because you're choosing not to run." That night, after Isaiah left, Tanner stood over the crib watching Elijah's chest rise and fall. The weight of sudden fatherhood pressed on him, heavy and terrifying. But beneath it stirred something new, resolve. And unbidden, the memory of Isaiah's steady hands and kind eyes. He didn't know it yet, but that 2 a.m. call had not only made him a father. It had cracked open the door to the life he had been too afraid to claim. The first 2 weeks blurred into a haze of sleepless nights and tiny victories. Tanner learned to function on 4 hours of sleep, to conduct video calls with his boss while bouncing Elijah on one knee, to navigate the pediatrician's office without looking like a complete imposter. His colleagues at the firm were supportive in that polite, distant way. Flowers arrived, a gift card for diapers, but he sensed the curiosity behind their smiles. The architect who had always kept his personal life private was suddenly a single dad. Questions hovered unspoken. Isaiah became a fixture. He came by after work most evenings, bringing takeout or home-cooked meals that actually tasted like food instead of despair. He taught Tanner the rhythm of baby life. Tummy time, lullabies, the mysterious art of getting a onesie on a wiggling infant. Their conversations drifted from practical advice to deeper waters, childhood memories, Marcus's downward spiral after their mother died, the way small-town expectations had weighed on all of them. One Thursday evening, rain streaking the loft windows, Isaiah stayed later than usual. Elijah had finally settled after a colic episode that left both men exhausted. They shared a beer on the couch, shoulders almost touching. "You ever think about having kids?" Tanner asked, the question slipping out before he could stop it. Isaiah set his bottle down. "Yeah. Always figured it would be part of the picture someday. Adoption, surrogacy, whatever. But it takes the right person. Someone who sees the whole package, the work, the late calls to clients in crisis, the fact that I'm a black gay man in America and that brings its own baggage." He glanced at Tanner. "What about you? Before all this?" Tanner shook his head. "I told myself no. Too complicated. I watched my parents' marriage fall apart. Dad's drinking, Mom's quiet disappointment. Then me coming out, it was the final fracture. I thought love was safer at a distance. Keep things casual. No one gets hurt." Isaiah's expression softened. "Casual never looked right on you, Tan. You've got too much heart for that." The air thickened. Tanner felt the pull, the same one he had ignored for years. Isaiah's presence filled the room with warmth and possibility. But guilt followed fast. This wasn't the time. He had a baby to raise, a brother who might never come back, a career hanging by a thread. "I can't mess this up," Tanner said quietly. "Elijah deserves stability, not whatever confusion I bring." Isaiah nodded, understanding without needing more words. "I'm not here to complicate things. I'm here because Marcus asked and because I want to be. For both of you." That weekend they took Elijah for his first real outing, to a quiet park along the lakefront. Chicago in early autumn glowed with turning leaves. Tanner pushed the stroller, Isaiah walking beside him. People smiled at the little family picture they made. A few double takes registered, 2 men, a baby, but no outright hostility. Still, Tanner's shoulders stayed tense. Halfway through their walk, Elijah fussed. Isaiah lifted him out with practiced ease, settling the baby against his broad chest. The sight hit Tanner like a wave. Protective, natural, beautiful. Something inside him shifted, an ache of longing he had long suppressed. Later, back at the loft, Isaiah lingered at the door. "You're doing good, Tanner. Better than good. That kid's lucky." Before Tanner could reply, Isaiah leaned in and pressed a brief, gentle kiss to his cheek. Nothing more. Just warmth and promise. Then he was gone. Tanner touched the spot, heart racing. Fatherhood was rewriting every rule he had lived by. And Isaiah was becoming part of the new script whether he was ready or not. Meanwhile, Marcus's calls were sporadic. Short updates from Alaskan work camps. Money sent, apologies repeated, promises to visit soon. Each one left Tanner torn between anger and pity. His brother was running from fatherhood the same way Tanner had once run from himself. At work, the partner track loomed. A major project deadline approached, requiring late nights Tanner could no longer afford. He hired a part-time nanny recommended by Isaiah's agency, a kind older woman named Rosa who adored Elijah on site. It helped, but the guilt remained. Was he already failing at being everything this child needed? One night, after putting Elijah down, Tanner opened his laptop and started sketching. Not buildings, but a different kind of home. A house with a yard, space for a child to run, room for more than one adult. The lines flowed easily, a vision of stability he had never allowed himself to imagine. When Isaiah texted the next day asking how the new nanny was working out, Tanner replied honestly, "Scary, but necessary. Thanks for the recommendation." And for everything else. The reply came quickly, anytime. Coffee this weekend? Just us. No baby talk if you need a break. Tanner smiled at the screen for the first time in days. Yes. Their first real date, though neither called it that, happened at a small cafe in Logan Square. No stroller, no diapers, just two men talking like adults. Isaiah shared stories from his social work cases. Kids navigating foster care, families learning acceptance after coming out crises, the quiet victories that kept him going. Tanner opened up about the architecture dreams he had sidelined, the fear that fatherhood might cost him the partnership. I keep thinking I have to choose, Tanner admitted. Career or Elijah? Stability or this? He gestured vaguely between them. Isaiah reached across the table, fingers brushing Tanner's. You don't have to choose alone. That's the point of having people. Real people who stay. The touch lingered. When they parted outside the cafe, the hug felt different, longer, charged with possibility. Tanner walked home lighter, even as questions swirled. That evening Marcus called again. This time his voice sounded clearer, less broken. How's my boy? He's perfect, Tanner said. Smiling now, rolling over. You should see him. A long silence. I'm proud of you, Tan. Doing what I couldn't. I met someone up here. She's helping me get clean. For real this time. Might be 6 more months before I can come back. But I want to. When I'm better. If you'll still let me be in his life. Tanner swallowed hard. He'll know who his father is. But he needs consistency. I won't let him get hurt again. Fair, Marcus said. Tell Isaiah thanks for me. He always was the better man. The call ended. Tanner looked at Elijah sleeping peacefully and felt the first real thread of hope. His brother might return someday. But the family being built right now, in this loft with Isaiah's steady presence, was already becoming real. Winter arrived early in Chicago, blanketing the city in snow and forcing new rhythms. Elijah turned 9 months old, crawling with determined speed and babbling strings of nonsense that made both men laugh. Tanner's firm granted him more flexible hours after he explained the situation in a tense meeting with HR. The partnership decision was delayed, not denied. Small mercies. Isaiah was there almost every evening now. Their relationship had quietly deepened. Stolen kisses in the kitchen while dinner warmed. Late-night talks on the couch after Elijah was down. Hands intertwined. Nothing rushed. Nothing hidden from each other, at least. But the outside world remained complicated. The first real test came at a holiday gathering Isaiah's social work agency hosted for families. Tanner hesitated to bring Elijah, worried about stares, questions, assumptions. Isaiah encouraged him gently. They're good people, and Elijah deserves to see community. Not just the two of us figuring it out in isolation. The event was held in a brightly decorated community center. Multi-generational families filled the space. Straight, gay, trans, blended. Tanner carried Elijah on his hip, the baby fascinated by twinkling lights. Isaiah introduced them proudly. This is Tanner, my partner, and our boy Elijah. The casual "our boy" sent warmth flooding through Tanner. No one blinked. An older lesbian couple cooed over Elijah. A single dad shared tips on teething. For a few hours, the weight of being different lifted. On the drive home, snow falling softly, Isaiah drove while Tanner sat in back with Elijah. That felt normal, Tanner said quietly. It can be, Isaiah replied. Not everywhere. Not always. But we get to build pockets of it. For him. For us. That night, after Elijah slept, they shared their first full night together. Not just physically, but emotionally. Tanner opened up about the shame he had carried since coming out. The way his father's silence still echoed. Isaiah talked about losing his own father young and vowing to be the steady presence he never had. Their vulnerabilities wove together like threads strengthening fabric. Morning brought reality. A voicemail from Marcus. He had relapsed briefly but was back in treatment. The Alaska job was steady, but the distance felt heavier. Tanner played the message for Isaiah. who listened without judgment. "He's trying," Isaiah said. "That's more than some do. But you're the constant now. Don't lose yourself proving it." The words stuck. Tanner realized he had been pouring everything into fatherhood and the budding relationship, neglecting the parts of himself that once defined him. He started sketching again in stolen hours, designs for a community center that welcomed all families, inspired by the holiday event. The work felt alive. Conflict brewed at the firm when a conservative client learned about Tanner's situation through office gossip. The client requested another architect. Tanner's boss called him in, expression tight but fair. "We support you, but business is business. Finish the current project strong. The partnership vote is in 2 months." Tanner left the meeting angry and determined. That evening he and Isaiah argued for the first time. Isaiah pushing him to fight harder for recognition, Tanner retreating into self-doubt. "You think I'm not scared?" Tanner snapped. "Every time I take Elijah to the park, I wonder if someone will say something cruel. Every time I kiss you goodbye in the morning, I wonder if the nanny judges us. I'm trying to be the dad he needs, the partner you deserve, and the professional I worked years to become. It feels impossible some days." Isaiah's voice softened. "It is impossible alone. That's why I'm here. We share the load. But you have to let me in all the way. No more walls because your family taught you love comes with conditions." The argument ended in reconciliation, Elijah's giggles breaking the tension as he crawled between them. They made a pact. Weekly date nights, even if just takeout on the couch, and open conversations about fears. Spring brought new milestones. Elijah's first steps happened in the loft living room, cheered on by both men. Marcus sent a video message from Alaska, voice thick with emotion, promising a visit by summer. Tanner's mother finally called after months of sporadic texts. Tentative, careful, but asking for photos of her grandson. Small bridges, fragile but real. Yet tension simmered with Isaiah's own family. His mother, loving but traditional, struggled with the speed of the relationship and the sudden grandchild. During a tense video call, she questioned whether Tanner was ready and whether Elijah would grow up confused. Isaiah defended them fiercely, but the conversation left him quiet for days. Tanner saw the parallel to his own past and made a decision. He booked a weekend trip to a family cabin in Wisconsin, neutral ground. Just the 3 of them. No work, no calls from Marcus, no outside pressure. Time to simply be. At the cabin, surrounded by pine trees and quiet lake, they cooked simple meals, took Elijah for gentle hikes in a carrier, and talked late into the night. Tanner admitted the depth of his feelings. "I love you. Not because you help with diapers or because Marcus asked you to check on me. Because you see me, the scared kid who ran to Chicago, the man trying to be better, the father I never planned to be. I want this. A family." Isaiah's eyes shone. "I love you too. Have for longer than I admitted. We're not perfect, but we're choosing each other every day. That's what Elijah will learn from us." They kissed under the stars, Elijah asleep inside, the future stretching out uncertain but hopeful. Back in Chicago, the firm project wrapped successfully. The partnership vote approached. Tanner prepared a presentation that included not just designs, but a personal statement about creating spaces for all families. Isaiah rehearsed with him, Elijah clapping along. Marcus's promised visit loomed. Would he show up sober? Would seeing his son reopen old wounds or heal them? Tanner didn't know. But for the first time, he felt ready to face whatever came, because he was no longer facing it alone. Summer heat wrapped Chicago like a blanket. Elijah, now 14 months old, toddled everywhere with fearless curiosity, his laughter filling the loft. Tanner had made partner, narrowly, after his presentation moved enough of the committee to overlook the client loss. The raise helped with childcare and the growing sense that their little family needed more space. Marcus arrived in early July, stepping off a bus from the airport looking healthier than Tanner had seen him in years. Clean-shaven, clearer eyes, a duffel bag over one shoulder. He stood awkwardly in the loft doorway, staring at the toddler who shared his curls and smile. Elijah hid behind Tanner's leg at first, unsure of the stranger. Marcus knelt slowly, voice gentle. "Hey, little man. I'm your dad. I know I've been gone, but I'm here now. If you'll have me." The reunion was tentative. Elijah warmed up after Marcus produced a stuffed bear from his bag. They spent the afternoon in the park, Marcus pushing the swing while Tanner and Isaiah watched from a bench. Conversation stayed surface level at first, Alaska stories, pipeline work, the program that had finally stuck. That evening, after Elijah was in bed, the three men sat on the rooftop terrace. Marcus turned to Tanner, eyes serious. "I owe you more than I can ever repay. You stepped up when I ran. Raised my son like your own. I'm not asking to take him back. I just want to be part of his life. Visits, calls, maybe shared custody down the road if it feels right for everyone." Tanner had rehearsed this moment for months. Anger still lingered, the abandonment, the years of silence. But watching Marcus with Elijah had softened something. "You can be in his life. But I'm his dad too now. In every way that matters. We do this together. No more disappearing." Marcus nodded, tears shining. "Deal." Isaiah stayed quiet during much of the talk, supportive but protective. Later, alone with Tanner, he voiced his worry. "He seems better, but recovery isn't linear. If he slips again, Elijah can't be the one hurt." "I know," Tanner said. "We set boundaries. Therapy together, maybe. But shutting him out completely feels wrong too. Elijah deserves to know his biological father if he's trying." The next weeks tested the new arrangement. Marcus stayed in a nearby Airbnb, visiting daily. He learned Elijah's routines, helped with bedtime stories, even cooked a few meals. Bonds formed slowly. Elijah began calling him Papa Mark, saving Dada for Tanner, a distinction that brought both men quiet pride and relief. Yet cracks appeared. Marcus struggled with the reality of Tanner and Isaiah's relationship. Old small-town biases surfaced in offhand comments. "Just didn't picture my kid growing up with two dads, you know?" Quickly followed by apologies. Isaiah bore it with grace but confided in Tanner that it stung. One humid evening, after Marcus had left, Isaiah and Tanner argued again. "I get he's family," Isaiah said, frustration evident. "But I'm family too. Elijah sees us as his parents. If Marcus can't fully accept that, it confuses the kid. And it hurts me." Tanner pulled him close. "You're right. I'll talk to him. We're building something new here. He has to respect it or step back." The conversation with Marcus happened the next day at the park. Tanner spoke plainly. "Isaiah isn't temporary. He's my partner. Elijah's other father in every meaningful way. If you want to be in our lives, you accept all of us. No side comments. No old prejudices. We've all grown. Time you did too." Marcus was quiet a long time. Then he nodded. "I hear you. Therapy's been teaching me that. I'm ashamed of who I was. Give me time to prove I can be better. For Elijah. For you both." Progress followed. Marcus joined them for a family barbecue with Isaiah's friends. He listened more, asked respectful questions about their relationship. Elijah thrived with the expanded circle. More love, more stories, more safety nets. Professionally, Tanner's new status brought challenges. A high-profile project required travel to New York. Leaving Elijah for a week felt impossible, but Isaiah encouraged him. "This is your career. Rosa and I have him. Marcus can help too. You've earned this." The trip tested Tanner. Late nights in hotels, video calls with a fussy toddler, moments of doubt. But returning to Chicago, to Isaiah's welcoming arms and Elijah's excited squeals, felt like coming home in every sense. Fall arrived with school decisions. Preschool tours, applications, conversations about how to explain their family to teachers and other parents. Some centers welcomed them warmly. Others showed subtle hesitation. They chose one with strong diversity values, determined to advocate. During one quiet evening, Tanner found Isaiah reading a children's book about different families to Elijah. The sight filled him with overwhelming love. This was the life he once feared. Messy, vulnerable, profoundly rewarding. Marcus announced he was moving back to Chicago permanently, taking a job at a recovery center to help others. I want to be close. Build something real here. The news brought cautious optimism. The family was expanding, healing, redefining itself. Yet the biggest test still waited. Elijah's second birthday approached, and with it, a custody discussion that could reshape everything. Tanner realized the true measure of fatherhood wasn't biology or legal papers. It was the daily choice to show up, to love openly, to grow despite fear. He and Isaiah lay in bed that night, listening to Elijah's soft breathing through the monitor. "Whatever happens," Tanner whispered, "we face it together." Isaiah kissed his temple. "Always." Elijah's second birthday party filled the loft with color and noise. Balloons, a small cake shaped like a truck, friends from preschool, Isaiah's colleagues, even Tanner's mother who had flown in for the occasion. Marcus helped set up, his presence now a steady, positive one. He had been sober for 8 months, attending meetings, rebuilding slowly. Watching Elijah blow out candles, guided by 3 sets of hands, Tanner felt a surge of gratitude mixed with lingering anxiety. The custody conversation loomed. Marcus had mentioned wanting more formal time, perhaps joint legal status. Lawyers had been consulted. Everyone agreed the goal was Elijah's best interest, but emotions ran high. After guests left, the 4 adults sat down. Marcus spoke first. "I'm not trying to take him away. You've been his world, Tanner. You and Isaiah. I just want official recognition. Shared custody. Holidays. The chance to be more than the weekend dad." Tanner's chest tightened. Isaiah reached for his hand under the table. Tanner's mother watched silently, supportive in her quiet way. "I'm scared," Tanner admitted. "Scared that if we formalize it, something changes. That he'll get confused. That old patterns return." Marcus met his eyes. "I understand. I've spent a lot of time in therapy unpacking why I ran. Shame. Fear of failing like Dad. But running made it worse. I'm here now. Committed. Let's do this right. Co-parenting plan. Counseling for all of us if needed." They agreed to mediation. The process was exhausting: meetings, paperwork, emotional discussions. Isaiah advocated fiercely for stability, reminding everyone that Elijah already had 2 primary fathers. Tanner navigated the guilt of wanting to protect the life they had built while acknowledging Marcus's growth. Through it all, his relationship with Isaiah deepened. They moved into a larger apartment with a yard nearby, still in Chicago, close to parks and community. Isaiah proposed one quiet evening on the new balcony, not with a ring but with a promise. "I want to adopt Elijah officially. Be his legal parent too. Build this forever. If you'll have me." Tanner said yes through tears. The adoption process began alongside custody talks, a beautiful complication. Winter brought holidays and new traditions. Their first Christmas as an extended family featured Marcus carving turkey, Isaiah leading songs, Tanner reading stories by the tree. Elijah, now speaking in full sentences, called them all variations of Dad, Papa, and Uncle in joyful confusion. They laughed about it, turning potential awkwardness into connection. A crisis tested them in January. Elijah caught a severe flu, landing in the hospital for 3 days. Fear united them. Tanner and Isaiah took shifts at the bedside. Marcus sat vigil, praying quietly. The ordeal reminded everyone how fragile life was and how strong their bond had become. During a long night in the hospital waiting area, Marcus turned to Tanner. "Thank you for letting me back in. I see now what real fatherhood looks like. It's not blood. It's this, staying through the hard parts." Tanner nodded. "We're all learning." Elijah recovered fully. Spring brought the court dates. The judge, after reviewing the mediated plan, granted shared custody with Tanner and Isaiah as primary guardians and Marcus having significant visitation and input. The adoption for Isaiah was approved in the same proceedings, a landmark day. Celebration followed at the park where their journey had many milestones. Elijah ran between them, chasing bubbles. Tanner watched Isaiah lift the boy high, Marcus snapping photos with genuine pride. His mother hugged him afterward. "I was wrong for so long," she whispered. "Seeing you all together, I'm proud. Your father would be too, if he'd let himself." The words healed old wounds. Summer brought reflection. Tanner's career flourished with new projects focused on inclusive community spaces. Isaiah received a promotion for his work with at-risk youth. Marcus thrived at the recovery center, even mentoring others. One evening on their new deck, the three men watched Elijah play in the yard. Isaiah leaned against Tanner. Marcus raised a glass of sparkling water. "To family, the one we're choosing every day." Tanner clinked glasses, heart full. The boy who once answered a 2 a.m. call out of duty had found love, purpose, and a version of fatherhood richer than any blueprint. Yet growth continued. Elijah began asking questions about why he had 3 dads. They answered honestly, age-appropriately. Different paths, lots of love, always safety. The conversations strengthened their resolve to model openness and acceptance. Challenges persisted. Societal stares during outings, occasional ignorant comments at school, the emotional labor of co-parenting different personalities. But each hurdle reinforced their commitment. They attended family counseling together, learning communication tools that served them well. As another autumn approached, Tanner realized the journey from that desperate phone call had transformed him completely. He was no longer the guarded architect running from his past. He was a father, a partner, a man who had learned that love, real, messy, courageous love, could rewrite even the most broken stories. 2 years after that life-altering 2 a.m. call, the family gathered for Elijah's 4th birthday in the backyard of their Chicago home. The space buzzed with laughter, friends, chosen family, Marcus's new girlfriend who fit seamlessly, Tanner's reconciled mother. Elijah, a bright, confident boy with a love for building blocks and stories about superheroes, raced around in a cape. Tanner stood beside Isaiah, watching their son blow out candles again, this time with help from all his fathers. Marcus caught his eye and smiled, the old regret replaced by quiet contentment. The custody arrangement had settled into a healthy rhythm. Primary home with Tanner and Isaiah, regular weekends and holidays with Marcus, open communication always. Isaiah slipped an arm around Tanner's waist. "Look at him. Look at us. We made this." Tanner leaned into the embrace. "Yeah, we did." Later, after guests left and Elijah was tucked in with new books, the 3 men sat on the deck under string lights. Conversation turned reflective. Marcus spoke first. "I almost destroyed everything by running. But that call, it saved me too. Forced me to face myself. I'm grateful every day you answered, Tan. And Isaiah, you showed me what steady love looks like. I'm a better man because of this family we built." Isaiah nodded. "It wasn't easy. There were nights I wondered if I was intruding on blood ties. But Elijah taught me that family is bigger than biology. It's the people who show up." Tanner listened, emotion thick in his throat. "That call ripped my world apart in the best way. I thought I had everything figured out, career, independence, emotional distance. I was wrong. Fatherhood broke me open. Loving Isaiah showed me what courage really is. Accepting Marcus back taught forgiveness. Elijah, he's the reason we all became who we were meant to be." They sat in comfortable silence, crickets chirping, city hum in the distance. The journey had included misunderstanding, fear of judgment, internal battles over identity and worth, sacrifices of time and ambition, moments of doubt when societal pressure felt crushing. But each conflict led to deeper understanding, each choice to growth. Tanner had confronted his internalized shame about being a gay man raising a child. Isaiah had navigated balancing his career helping others with building his own family. Marcus had faced addiction and the pain of lost time, emerging committed to redemption. Together they modeled for Elijah that love comes in many forms, that men can be soft and strong, that family is chosen as much as inherited. As the evening deepened, Tanner felt profound peace. The boy who once feared connection now thrived in it. The architect who designed buildings now helped design lives, his own most of all. In the quiet moments that followed, they planned small things. A family camping trip, preschool graduation, continued counseling to keep communication open. Life would bring new challenges, school questions, teenage years, societal shifts, but they faced the future united. Elijah's laughter echoed from a dream in his room, a sound that symbolized everything they had fought for. This story is one of awakening. A single desperate call can shatter carefully constructed walls, forcing us to confront hidden truths about love, identity, and responsibility. Tanner, Isaiah, and Marcus each learned that running from pain only prolongs it. True strength lies in turning toward it, together. For anyone carrying secrets, fearing judgment, or doubting their capacity to love and be loved, the family you build through courage and honesty will heal what was broken. Choose presence over perfection. Choose growth over fear. In the end, the greatest legacy isn't the life you planned. It's the one you have the bravery to embrace when it calls at 2 a.m.